Before the rising of the sun, Eärendil slew Ancalagon the Black, the mightiest of the dragon host, and cast him from the sky. And he fell upon the towers of Thangorodrim, and they were broken in his ruin. He was named Ancalagon the Black. His origins are closely tied to the greatest villain of Middle-earth, namely Morgoth, the original Dark Lord and the most powerful of the Valar, the angelic beings who helped shape and govern the world. Morgoth, originally known as Melkor, fell into evil due to his lust for power and domination, and over time he corrupted many beings to serve him. He became the first Dark Lord and the source of much of the evil that plagued Middle-earth in the First Age. Among Morgoth's most devastating creations were the dragons. The first dragon to emerge from his dark imagination was Glaurung, known as the Father of Dragons, who terrorized the lands in the First Age. Glaurung was a massive, serpentine creature who lacked wings, but his malevolence and power were immense. He became the prototype for Morgoth's future draconic creations, and it was Morgoth's ambition to make even greater and more fearsome dragons than Glaurung. This ambition reached its pinnacle with the creation of Ancalagon the Black, a dragon so large and powerful that he would outshine all who came before and after him. Ancalagon was a winged dragon, also known as a fire drake, which means he could fly and rain fire from the sky. His immense size and strength were legendary. In fact, no dragon, not even Smaug from the Third Age, could rival Ancalagon's sheer destructive capacity. Ancalagon's role in Morgoth's forces, however, would not come to fruition until the climactic events of the First Age. The First Age of Middle-earth was dominated by the struggle between Morgoth and the elves, men, and other free peoples of Middle-earth who resisted his tyranny. The War of Wrath was the final conflict of the First Age, and one of the most cataclysmic events in the history of Tolkien's world. After centuries of warfare, betrayal and devastation caused by Morgoth and his forces, the Valar finally decided to intervene directly in Middle-earth to end Morgoth's reign once and for all. The Valar sent an enormous host to Middle-earth, led by Eonwë, the herald of Manwë, the king of the Valar. This host included many Maiar, the lesser angelic beings, as well as the remaining elves and men who had not yet fallen under Morgoth's sway. The war raged across Beleriand, the region of Middle-earth where Morgoth's stronghold, Angband, was located. Morgoth's forces, which included orcs, balrogs, and various corrupted creatures, were vast, but even they struggled against the might of the Valar and their allies. As the war neared its end, the forces of the Valar pushed Morgoth's armies back to the gates of Angband, his impenetrable fortress. Desperate and on the verge of defeat, Morgoth unleashed his final and most terrifying weapon, Ancalagon the Black, and a host of winged dragons. These dragons soared into the sky, spreading terror and destruction, turning the tide of the battle for a time. Ancalagon led this force, his sheer size and might devastating the armies of the Valar. The skies above Beleriand were alight with the flames of the dragons, and it seemed that Morgoth might yet achieve victory. In response to this overwhelming threat, one of the greatest heroes of the First Age, Eärendil the Mariner, rose to meet the challenge. Eärendil was a half-elven hero, known for his voyages across the seas of Middle-earth and his quest to bring aid from the Valar. He was blessed by the Valar and sailed into battle aboard his ship, Vingilor, which had been set alight with the radiance of a Silmaril, one of the 3 sacred jewels crafted by Feanor that Morgoth had long coveted. Eärendil was accompanied in this aerial battle by the great eagles, led by Thorondor, the king of eagles. Together, they fought against the dragons in the skies above Angband, and the conflict between Eärendil and Ancalagon became legendary. The battle raged for hours, perhaps days, as Ancalagon unleashed his fury upon Eärendil and the forces of the Valar. Ultimately, it was Eärendil who triumphed over the great dragon. He managed to strike a fatal blow, and the mighty dragon fell from the sky. The fall of Ancalagon the Black was a cataclysmic event. Such was his size and weight that when he crashed to the ground, he shattered the 3 volcanic peaks of Thangorodrim, which had marked the gates of Morgoth's fortress. This moment marked the beginning of the end for Morgoth's reign. The death of Ancalagon the Black was a pivotal moment in the War of Wrath. With his greatest weapon defeated, Morgoth's forces crumbled, and the Valar were able to storm Angband, capture Morgoth, and bring the First Age to a close. Morgoth was chained and cast into the void, where he would remain until the end of days. Ancalagon's legacy, however, lived on in the memory of Middle-earth. His size, power, and destructive potential became legendary, and even in the later ages of Middle-earth, no dragon could compare to him. In the Third Age, when Smaug terrorized Erebor and Lake Town, he was considered one of the most dangerous creatures in Middle-earth. But even Smaug paled in comparison to the sheer scale and ferocity of Ancalagon the Black. Ancalagon also serves as a symbol of Morgoth's ambition and hubris. In creating the greatest dragon, Morgoth believed he could turn the tide of the war and conquer Middle-earth once and for all. Yet, like many of Morgoth's creations, Ancalagon was ultimately doomed to fail. His death marked the downfall of Morgoth's empire and the triumph of the forces of good over evil. Ancalagon's place in Tolkien's legendarium is unique because, while he plays a relatively brief role in the overarching narrative, his impact is profound. He represents the apex of Morgoth's power and the sheer devastation that the Dark Lord could unleash upon the world. His death signals the final defeat of Morgoth, an event that shaped the course of Middle-earth's history for centuries to come. Furthermore, Ancalagon's story highlights Tolkien's recurring theme of the ultimate downfall of evil, no matter how powerful it may seem. Morgoth, like his lieutenant Sauron in later ages, amassed incredible power and armies of destruction. But in the end, their greed and lust for control led to their undoing. Ancalagon, for all his might, could not stop the inevitable victory of the Valar and the free peoples of Middle-earth. That concludes our journey into the history of Ancalagon the Black. Until next time, may you always be shielded from his fiery wrath. The vault is now closed.